Aye, Mr. Brown.
Yes, that was-
Are we ready? Okay. Meeting will now come to order. We'll have a roll call. Mr. Hirsch. Here. Mr. Landwehr.
I am present.
Mrs. Olson.
Here.
Mr. Gonick. Here. Mr. Cowie.
Here.
Mrs. Burnett.
Here.
And I'm here. All please rise for pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The agenda was posted throughout the district according to school board policy, published in legal ad of the Superior Telegram, posted on the district webpage and sent to the WNXR radio station for announcement. Meeting notice was sent to the connection for publication. Item 3 is approval of the December 11th, tonight's 2022 agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Okay.
A second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The consent agenda includes A, the November 14th, 2022 regular board meeting, open and executive sessions, and B is the treasurer's report, Mr. Landwehr.
A summary of the treasury report as of November 30th, 2023, general fund. General account on November 30th, 2023, there was a balance of $998,088.82 in cash and investments. Receipts since the 1st of December and not included in the November 30th balance are $1,964,844.95. And the disbursements from tonight's December 11th board meeting total $33,766.23. The flexible spending account on November 30th, 2023, there was a balance of $20,036.48 in cash and investments. In the health reimbursement account on November 30th, 2023, there was a balance of $8,018.82 in cash and investments. The debt service fund on November 30th, 2023, there was a balance of $673.73 in cash and investments. And a more detailed report on fund activity is included for your review in the financial statements.
Thank you. And the payment of invoices, everyone, I hope has had a chance to look at those, and if there are any questions, ask Mr. Petricotter. D, resignations.
Yep, we have one resignation. Mr. Josh Dumpke, our technology and engineering teacher, he will be resigning at the conclusion of the 23-24 school year. So that's our only resignation.
Okay, and employment?
Yeah, we have, we're recommending Tricia Buckmaster for our high school administrative assistant position, and Kari Ricklad as a part-time special ed paraeducator at the Iron River Elementary School. Kari was formerly an administrative assistant at NMS. So all these we're looking for, are recommending to be approved.
I have a question.
Yep.
On Mr. Dumpke.
Yep.
If no one applies for that position, can we extend his license?
So to extend his license, he would have to, he has to, because he's on an emergency license, he has to engage into some classes in that, and there's no real clear pathway for him. He would have to go back to school, so he's decided not to do that. So he needs 6 credits by the end of June 30th. So that's why he's just decided. He's done a fabulous job,
Right, yeah.
and we're gonna miss
So
him.
so maybe if August comes around and nobody applies, can you? Give him another 6 months.
Well, I think the,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it does work that way, because you only get so much with that license, because you don't really use the 5.
Okay.
So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on the consent agenda? If not, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll say.
Okay, Adam. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval items. 5A, request from Peter Lawton Northwestern Middle School Student Council Advisor and Student Council Representative to plan and attend an experience day on Friday, February 16th, 2024. And here's Representative. Please identify yourself.
Good evening. My name is Elena Carr, and this is Lexi Passford. And Mariah Myshak, but she's not here right now. We are here representing the Northwestern Middle School Student Council.
We have come to ask for the school board's permission approval for the Northwestern Middle School Experience Day all days at a school activity, which will take place on February 16th, 2025. This event has been taking place since the early 1990s. It's a Northwestern Middle School tradition.
The Experience Day is a fun day when 6th, 7th, and 8th graders get the chance to try new and exciting things with their fellow students and teachers.
This year's choices include skiing or snowboarding at Spirit Mountain, ice fishing in Iron River, Adventure Zone, bowling with roller skating, and Superior YMCA with roller skating, and Level Up Game Center with roller skating. We feel that students will enjoy these fun activities.
We will explain how these activities work. First, there's Spirit Mountain, which is an all-day event where you can snowboard or downhill ski. Then there's a day of swimming and gymnasium space with lunch at the YMCA in Superior. Students will then head to World of Wheels to roller skate and have pizza lunch. Students can also go ice fishing in Iron River all day. Students can choose from this option. Will have the whole day to go ice fishing and eat snacks from the snack store nearby.
Adventure Zone in Duluth has opened their doors for us. Students will be actively playing laser tag, hitting the batting cage, and playing miniature golf most of the day. They have also added a day of bowling at Incline Station and roller skating at World of Wheels. This year we are going to try the Level Up Game Center in Superior, where students can enjoy a morning of card games and then join the others roller skating. All of these activities are very fun, and we know the students will enjoy themselves no matter what one they pick.
This year's price will be from $10 to $20 depending on the activity the student selects. If a student can't pay, no worries, as arrangements are made with the student council. It is important that all students can attend and enjoy socializing with their friends and make new friends.
We are kindly asking that the district again helps us with the bus transportation costs that range from $2,500 to $3,000.
We as Northwestern Middle School Student Council representatives strongly believe that this is a great opportunity to help our local business and show them the first-class behavior that our student body displays in and out of the classroom. We would appreciate the school board's approval of this project. Thank you.
Any questions?
I have a question. What was Level Up, number 6? Number 6 on our thing.
Level Up is, I think it's, Business and Superior. They can play like card games there or like board games.
It's in Superior. Any questions?
You presented it well. Thank you for coming and doing that. Have either of you been on an experience day before?
Yes.
Yeah? What are you gonna do this year? You know? Haven't decided yet?
Yeah.
What did you do last year?
Last year we went rollers.
We went bowling and roller skating.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's good. Okay. I'm just curious. And then I also have a question, I don't know who I can direct this to. The fee structure is remarkably cheap when you look at what they're getting, especially for like Spirit Mountain. So where are those subsidies coming from? Who's paying the extra, or is Spirit Mountain giving us a huge break, or?
I can answer that. The fee is a flat fee for all the activities. All the activities cost a different amount. So what happens is, in the end, it just kind of evens its way out. We want to give kids the opportunity. There's a lot of kids that, I think skiing is like $25 to go with one. So we offer just $20 flat fee for everything.
Okay.
That's one where a lot of kids say, I've never gone. I could never afford it. I've heard that before. Just gives them an opportunity for kids that can't do it, to give them a chance to do it.
Okay, so you've got enough experience that it all kind of balances out.
Yep. And if there's ever an issue with a student who there's a financial concern, the student council helps them in that matter also. So every kid gets an opportunity to do what they would like.
Thank you.
You know, I'll maybe before you go, I just want to reiterate your presentation was outstanding. Your speaking was great job. You know, with all the mental health stuff that goes on in the world these days, this is a great way to get out and do physical activity. As a former fire ed teacher, I love these days. I think they're great days. So I'm very much in support of this. And our recommendation is for this to be approved. So.
Thank you. So we need a motion for approval.
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion approved, your second.
I'll second it.
Your second right here. And any other discussion or questions that you have? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5B, request from Darren Nyhus, FFA advisor to attend along with 2 students, 2023 halftime leadership conference, Stevens Point on January 12th and 13th of next year.
Hello, before I start, I wanted to give a little bit of a recap. We attended our leadership conference last month in November that we came to the school board to get approval for, and I just wanted to give you guys like a summary of what we did. So we went to a couple different meetings, some impact and some mission, which were just basically what we wanted to do for FFA as juniors and seniors when we were leaving, and what kind of mark we wanted to leave. So the impact, and then the mission was what our sophomores that went wanted to do and improve with in their FFA. And we brought 2 or 3 members who had never been on an FFA trip before, and I heard great remarks about it. I asked them, they'd rate it out of 10, and I got a 9 and an 8. And the 8 was just because of the food. So I think it went pretty well, and they said they would love to attend again. But this time I'm asking for permission to travel to Stevens Point for a halftime conference that is on January 12th and 13th in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So it's open to our president and vice president of our chapter, and I am the president, and then senior Justin Nelson is the vice president. So we talk about the last semester of FFA with our state officers, and they're very personal meetings. So we'll go to like 3 or 4 sessions per day, and we'll talk about ways to improve, maintain like volunteerment and participation and competitions. And it's a way for us to go as the leaders of our chapter and voice our concerns and our problems or suggestions for other chapters, and just have a conversation basically with all the chapters around the state about how it's going and what we can do to improve. FFA funds it. We're just asking for your permission, and it'll be the car.
Have you attended
Yes,
in
I
Stevens
went
Point
last
before?
year.
Okay. So you know it's one of the most prestigious universities in the state.
Now we're
I've heard River Falls is a little bit more
Oh,
prestigious.
really?
Hartford Open Midwest.
Yes, I went last year, and it was very nice, and I always bring a notebook and be right, Mr. Knight, with some questions on the way home. Last conference wasn't really like one that we could take notes on, like nothing we could really bring back. It was fun, and it was good for the younger members to go and experience it firsthand, to wear our official dress and complain about it. But this one's more of a, I can come back and be able to be like if I want. So last year we won a Pride Award and another award for doubling our, so we were the highest percent of chapter, I don't know how to word it, like chapter members that we had added in, and I'd like to obtain that again eventually, but maybe not this year. But it's a way to go and look and see different strategies that other chapters use. Like I know we brought back, we're talking about maybe doing Ag Olympics during National FFA Week, which is an idea we got from different chapters of conferences. So it's a very good like session to go to. They're nice meetings.
I guess the logistics piece of it, so we'd be leaving at about right after a lunch on that Friday. So just be a half day that we would be gone on that Friday and then gone all day on Saturday. Likely, because it's just 2 students and myself, would be then the Camry as far as the school transportation. And then coming back that late Saturday evening. in January.
Are there any other questions? Any questions? Not sure, we might want to strike that one comment. Promotional.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols, for doing that for the students too. As teachers, I know it's kind of difficult to, pick up weekends, and you've done it multiple times. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we're the highlight of this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, Devin looks like he's enjoying himself. Got pictures to prove it.
Oh, I love this school.
Thank you for your presentation. Yeah, do we have a motion? We have moved for approval.
I second.
Dan, Sherry, and any other discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Item 5C, report and recommendations for the December 11th curriculum committee meeting from the December 11th. Tonight's curriculum committee meeting.
Okay. We met prior to today's meeting. Mr. Carlson joined us and kind of went over the changes or additions that would be possibly coming. So the new course proposal was Communications 110. This course is designed to introduce students to concepts and theories of human communication and practical grounding of those theories, to develop of self-listening, language, interpersonal relationships, small group processes, electronic communication, and public speaking. They'll understand how these elements interact and serve as powerful methods of discovery about themselves and interactions with the world. This is, of course, a critical thinking design to help you generate research, evaluate information, and present your ideas with clarity, coherence, and precision across 3 communication contexts. We agree that this should be, that we would bring this forward to the board with our approval. The next is a certified nursing assistant. This program prepares students for employment, and we've already had this course, so I guess we don't have to say too much about it. This is still kind of trying to get, we're not 100% sure of all of the specifics on it, but the changes also would be that it would be offered during the school year. Right now, we're looking at second semester, first block, maybe starting a little bit earlier to get everything in, as there's going to be clinical time as well, which would be off campus. Northwood Tech is responsible for the instructor, and it's a possibility that this could be a start college now. So that was another course we were looking at adding to be included in the school day. And then finally, the construction one will be redefined to include print reading for construction. This will enable us to offer this course as transcriptive credit with Northwood Tech. Students who will take this course along with applied technical math and building construction will be awarded a technical essential diploma from Northwood Technical College. In addition, NHS will be designated as a Construction Essentials Academy by Northwood Tech. Students who complete these 3 courses will earn 9 credits at Northwood Tech, and NHS will be able to consider this as a separate certification once the student graduates and be able to count this for inclusion in the CTE incentive grant program. So we bring this forward to the board.
Tom, I have a question. How many, the last one, how many courses?
There's 3.
Semesters? 3
Yeah.
semesters?
What's that?
3 semesters? Would be total?
3 semesters.
The last one, construction 1, I think it's just a 1 semester course, I believe.
1 term, yeah. It says 1 term.
So term is another word for quarter. Yeah.
I have a question for the committee. These all sound like good options. Did you guys discuss, is there any reason we wouldn't want to do this? Does it come at any price or compromise, or have we give up anything? Is there more work for teachers that we don't have or anything like that?
We asked about communications one and no, it fits into this current schedule of teachers. The construction is, just reorganizing it. So again, it's not gonna affect other classes offered. And then the certified nursing assistant is provided by them.
Yeah.
So
It seems like it's win-win all around.
I think so.
But there would be some costs involved. I would assume the curriculum and.
I think the curriculum, there's one, a small fee for the development of the communications class. There really isn't for the construction course. And the certified nursing assistant, there is a fee for that. I think it's $3,500 plus the mileage or a stipend. And that is the instructor that comes from, is it Northwood Tech? Yeah, it's not it's the instructor we provide.
Then there's no textbook for the communications course.
No,
It's all
that's all
online.
But there is some expenses, do we have to roll call vote on this to approve these? What? Yep. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Mr. Adler?
I was present during the curriculum meeting, so off of what I listened to, my concern is all of the uncertainties and the costs associated with those uncertainties on the CNA program at this point. I think it's a good program. I think it can do a lot, but I'm not comfortable personally, only because there's too many unanswered questions. As far as you talked about whether you go a contract or whether you go start college now becomes a different type of structure. What that actual mileage stipend comes out to be for cost, if you do the start college now, you now have a percentage that the student has to pay. It just seems too much for me personally.
How was the CNA course was offered as a summer school option in the past, correct?
Correct.
How has that been done as a summer school option? Like, is it a
Mr. Carlson, do you wanna?
I don't know how, we did it as a summer school originally, so we could count it as FTEs. And I don't recall exactly how much we actually did get from that. Some of that was because we had some seniors, graduated seniors who were taking it, and we were not able to count them. So there was cost to that as well as during the summer. As far as the cost goes, if I can just elaborate on that just a little bit. The contract that we talked about with Northwood is about $3,500, $3,550, something like that for the contract. There would be, and I just got information this afternoon, as far as the mileage. And it seems to me, without being able to ask questions, it'd be a stipend, a certain amount of stipend per day for the number of days. And if I remember correctly, that number was right about $900 for the mileage on top of the contract. Total, $900 for the mileage. The other ways we are considering and is looking at whether we could do it as a start college now. And that is dependent on whether Northwood would allow us to do that on campus. Right now, we have students who take those start college now courses at Northwood or online. And so we're waiting to hear back from them as to whether or not we could offer it them. I would just say that the cost comparison, I would say it's a wash from what we'd either be paying as a contract to what we'd be paying as far as tuition for the start college now. There would not be that much of a difference as far as the cost goes. So, you know, when I say $3,500, I would say that's probably the maximum we'd be paying as far as offering the course. I do think if we're able to do a start college now, it may come in a little bit less than that. I think it's maybe $300 for the course if it's a start college now. So I think the $3,500 would be max. That's my estimate as far as if you're looking at the cost goes.
Can I assume the start college now option is your preferred choice? Or is that not the case?
I think so, simply because students will be able to get college credit for
Yeah,
that,
that's
as
what I was
long as the
thinking.
high school credit. So looking at it as an option would be preferred. But it all depends on what we hear back from Northwood, whether that's something we can do or not.
Interesting trend in nursing schools. So if we have students who want to go to school to be nurses, they have to have their CNA. So it is a huge benefit to be able to get that done when you're in high school. If they're applying to any of our local nursing schools.
And the reason we're looking at bringing it in-house, the main reason is, not every student can do it during the summer, with jobs, vacations, and how to be able to do that. By doing it, right now, we're looking at doing it during the second term, which is the second quarter. That would allow students to get that certification and be able to be working before the end of the school year. So kids will be able to get out and do that sooner than later. And the other huge benefit of us offering it in school during the day is that sometimes there's conflicts after school with students who are in activities, jobs after school, who aren't able to do this training separately. Even as a start college now, I think sometimes that would be an evening class. So by doing it, when we're asking to do it at that time, it's just a benefit for the kids.
I have another question. Do you have any sense, have you done any survey, what do you think the take-up will be on some of these courses? And is there, I'm thinking of like this, the shop one and the CNA one, is there a minimum? And is there a minimum number of students that need to sign up for it? What happens then, right?
Well, the construction one class that's a course we've been offering, and that's a prerequisite for the building construction.
Yeah, that one is probably gonna be no problem.
That'd be no
CNA
problem.
and-
CNA, what we're putting a limit on is the number of students who can be in the course, and that's 8 right now.
So you have reason to believe that there'll be a lot of interest.
I think Mr. Carlson important to note that that's not our number, that's
Correct, that's Northwood.
Northwood's
That's
number.
Northwood. If we were to go over 8, then they would require a second instructor, and that's according to their policies and, their requirements.
So you're amortizing these costs over 8 students.
For that class, the CNA class.
Yeah.
It's a huge benefit, I think, for the students, really for the community, if they can get into the job market quicker, even if they're not going into the medical field. Any other questions, comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion, and we're going to take a roll call vote. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve.
A motion to approve this recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Burnett?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes.
Ms. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Landwehr?
No.
Mr. Hirsch?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So, motion carried. 6-1. Okay, item 5D, 24-25 teacher school calendar.
Okay, in fact, you have the proposed calendar for the 2024-25 school year. Were there any questions, any other questions for that, on that? We are looking for a recommendation to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 school calendar.
We have motion to approve the calendar as presented. Is there a second?
I second.
Mr. Kelly?
I would like to say as a parent, I'm glad to see June 6th instead of June 9th.
Okay, thanks. I thought the work that Peggy and Mr. Carlson added in a couple things, really did a good job on that, so I'd like to get Peggy credit for putting that together.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5E, Essentia Health, Tiger Fitness Center non-supervised access hours.
Yeah, Mr. Federicotti and Mr. Smith and myself, met with the head of Essentia and, another one of his coworkers the other day, talking about a few items. And one of the things that they were wondering is if we could look at maybe having some, hours, for the Tiger Fitness Center that aren't supervised. What they would do is they would put in a fob system, so it's all digitized. People, members could come in and use their fob to get in and do the workouts. This would be like maybe it'd be like from 6 to 10 at night, might be 8 to 4 on the weekends, Saturday and Sundays, but they wouldn't have to have somebody there staffing it the whole time. Cody did check with the insurance company. There's no real issue with the insurance company because it's kind of all on them. Cody, is there anything else I'm missing that you want to add?
No, like I said, that all the costs would be incurred by Essentia to make this go. Their goal is to try to just make this fitness center more available to the public, in terms of that. And security wise, we have 2 fire exits. Those of you who are familiar with the fitness center, there's 2 fire exits that go into our building. One would be the athletic hallway, which is right alongside the gym there. The other one would be upstairs, second level of the lake room that goes into the mezzanine. Those would be alarmed, so if anybody does try to take a walk into our buildings, that an alarm would pop off. They actually are alarmed. We typically have them off because our students do use those exits. The actual doors into the building itself, at the entranceway there, we have the doors coming into the building with the breezeway, and then the second set of doors gets you into the building. Those second set of doors would be locked. The key fob system would get them into the first set of doors, and then they'd have to take a left into the fitness center from there. So I tend to agree with Essentia. It helps them potentially increase membership, gives their members more access to it. Some of them being our students that are members there and their families. I think it's something that we can definitely work with them on without minimal exposure to the district from our end, I think, liability wise. So
Ours would cameras in there?
There would be cameras. We'd end up putting up probably another 1 or 2. Again, all those costs would be incurred by Essentia. We have cameras at various spots in our building areas there. We don't have any necessarily in the fitness center itself, but that would be on them to do that. So
I have a couple questions. So currently the staffing is all absorbed by Essentia, right?
yes.
And what is the current staffing hours?
I'd have to double check on that, but it's pretty standard.
These are the weekdays.
I don't know if you would know Ken or not.
They get open at 6 to maybe 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then it's daytime hours Saturday, they're closed on Sundays.
Yeah, so are you anticipating that Essentia would cut back on the number of hours it's staffed?
They wanted to, from the conversation that we had, they want to maintain the current level of staff, and they just want to kind of extend the hours. Partially because trying to find somebody to work potentially from 6 to 10 o'clock at night for such a short shift is not most likely really feasible to find. Just they haven't determined the hours. That would be up to them, I guess. But like I said, the short answer is their main goal is to be open a little bit more frequently without having to try to staff it with a human being. A lot of fitness centers have some kind of hours like this usually. 24-hour fitnesses are completed this way. That type of stuff is kind of industry.
It's certainly a new concept. Just out of curiosity, based on the membership that's there, I have no idea what the membership even is there. If it's been going up or down, and at least is it trending in the right direction as far as usage?
I think it's coming back after. I think this is true for a lot of different gym memberships. There was a major dip after COVID. During COVID, obviously those facilities weren't open.
Yeah.
They are trending upwards, I believe, but they want to continue to try to maintain growth there. So
But, you know, I'll be honest, if it was open at 5 AM, I'd go in and work out at 5 to 6 and do my workout then, so you can get the shower ready, go by 6:45.
It would make a difference.
Yeah, so we're looking to, we're recommending, for this to be approved.
Okay, just to mention, we do have custodial staff on duty during the week. I don't know if they have to make sure the door is secure.
So that's part of the, yeah, there'll be automatic doors with that stuff, automatic closing and opening, obviously, so. Our custodial staff during the weekdays are here, mostly through the night, not completely all the way through, but weekends, there's usually events going on. Sometimes our custodial staff are here for those events for a short period of time. We do building checks over the weekends too, to make sure our buildings are secure and, you know, especially during the winter time, we're not, you know, freezing pipes, not making heat, that type of stuff that y'all got to worry about. But there will be some times where there might be people in that facility where there not are folks in our building. I want to be clear on that. But again, you can lock doors, with alarms and things of that nature. And if there is issues with a member going where they shouldn't be going for whatever reason during that time frame, essentially assure us that that would be addressed and that person's privileges to do such that particular thing will not be allowed anymore. So.
And you know, some of the members there, they like to walk the halls.
Yep, so the expectation was that during the, you know, the non-supervised hours, that's where you are. You're in the essential facility. We're not, you know, opening up our building to people to walk around or do that stuff when they're not here. That's a liability that we do not want. So,
Just curiosity, what happens when the alarm goes off?
well, that's what we're talking about. So that'd be one of the things that we have to try to figure out.
I mean, do the cops come or do they,
It's not wired to any kind of, you know, ADT system or something along those lines. Short answer is we get probably some kind of network, and then I'd lean on Essential to take care of that if somebody was coming in to our building when they should. But the only time that we're kind of consistently not staffed throughout the hours that they're talking about would be very early in the morning, you know, that 4 or 5-ish range. Our custodial staff usually gets here in the beginning of the morning, right about 6 o'clock, 6:30. And then for the most part, weeknights, we have people that are building still 2 in the morning, plus weekends would be the one that we don't always have a consistent staff. So.
I just have 2 more quick comments, and you probably already thought of these things, but I think if it's gonna be, there's no staff there should be a number or something that somebody could call if they even have medical emergency or whatever, right?
And those are things we'll work out with Essential if it
Yeah.
gets approved. So,
Yeah, I think
because we'll need to have a protocol, who gets called and who needs to come in, whether it's me, whether it's Cody, whether it's Lewis or so, whoever's running that building, you know, so, but we'll hash that out with them.
And would that be tied in? I'm assuming we have a contract with them. I'm sure that's got to be agreed as well.
Yes, we have agreement with them. So that space is our space, but essentially
They're looking to increase revenue because you need to buy some equipment down. Like those ellipticals are starting to get old, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
And they're responsible for replenishing them and purchasing new ones, so they're looking to generate some revenue to put back in it.
So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve their recommendation to pursue this extended hours with Essential.
Thank you. Is there a second? We have a motion. Is there a second to approve this?
A second.
Second to Mr. Ronick. Any other discussion? After being all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item 5F, policies, is the second reading.
Yep, this is the second reading of the policies we went over at the November meeting. We kind of gave the rationale for these policies at the last meeting. So does anybody have any other questions? Yep.
And I hate to have to talk about this one. It's 5350 suicide prevention, intervention, and post-vention.
Yeah.
My question is, what is currently in place? It did talk in here about not schooling. for staff. So I'm interested in what schooling is currently done and or scheduled for staff. And it says in here, training will be provided regularly for all teachers and staff. And if that's the case, I would be interested to know if that becomes a calendar item and it gets done. I would assume on an in-service type thing.
That would be an in-service thing. Any of those prevention things that we were going to implement through our policies, that was pretty much an in-service thing. We work those in, right away in the summer, saying, okay, well, we're going to start putting in our in-service stage, what we're going to do, and if this needs to be done, that's when we're doing it.
And I guess in reading this, I'm reading this as there is more staff going to be, I guess, educated on this than just guidance counselors and so forth. Because I have to imagine that they are the ones that are taking the lead on it, but that's an assumption. But
so
I just hate to have to talk about this for anything ever.
Yeah, the more teachers that have a training and understanding it, at least can see the signs and get the team together, the building team or the crisis team, I guess you could say, to come and help with that situation. But that's why we would like to get more staff involved in that and training that, so we have an understanding of that. So it's just not a big huge shock when it happens, or if something happens. What do I do?
Yeah.
To answer your question, Mr. Lammer, our principals, and I see the cyclists back there as well, we have done training with.
So last year, our counselors were really leading the charge. They went and got trained as trainers for QPR. And then that is a training that then we're able to come back and start doing with our staff. So that is something that is on the docket for ongoing training.
Good. Thank you.
Trying to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah. But hopefully we're ahead of that one instead of behind. That's all I had.
Any other questions on second reading policy? We also have a policy revision updated, 0143.2. Commissioner President,
Is that the one we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
So that was the one we talked about looking at last month. Where if you look at number B, district administrator will honor any ongoing requests and keep lines of communication open to notify the board regarding any students who would be placed on an alternative disciplinary contract, school placement beyond suspension and before expulsion. So that we kind of add that to the policy, so that way that kind of covers what we talked about looking at. When you guys brought that up, Dan, do you remember that? Sorry.
communication.
Yeah.
Communication.
That's the last
So,
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading, following the second reading and also the revision of one policy.
make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is not here.
I'll make a motion to approve all.
Second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6, report. Wisconsin State report card for the district and school 23-24 Mr. Larrabee.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, community can hear me as well. What I'm presenting, I can certainly share if people want it. I did ask Mrs. Janigan, I believe she shared the report cards with our board members already. So I'm going to kind of go through a little bit about the background because I know we have a couple new board members and also community at home. So the 2022-23 state report cards are really based off of how state assessments were for the 22-23 school year at all of our schools. But they also kind of have a rolling data trend over the prior 3 years. So this is the first report card that doesn't include the year or the break between assessment years from the COVID pandemic. So what we're really looking at now is not pre and some of the post, but now this is our first report card for each building and for the district that is strictly post-COVID era. So a little disclaimer there. For anyone that's not that familiar with it, in the state of Wisconsin, like most other states, there is an Office of Educational Accountability or something of the like. It really kind of governs what the federal requirements are for standardized testing for students in private and public schools. In Wisconsin, you have 4 different assessments that are given to students. And the reason I put this up there is it's important to note, if you look at the grade bands, and then you recognize like at the elementary level, which our elementaries run kindergarten through 5th grade, our grades 3, 4, and 5 take the assessments of the Wisconsin Forward exam, and then students that are not able to take that assessment because of their individualized needs, they're assessed using something different called the Dynamic Learning Maps, or the DLM. So a combination of those 2 assessments is what goes into the elementary report cards. That is the same for the middle school, but if you look, it's vastly different for the high school. So the high school actually is composed of all 4 assessments. So students in 10th grade take a portion of the Forward exam, and then any student that can't would have the DLM. And then the pre-ACT Secured is a new assessment that is used for the first time this year. That's students 9th and 10th grade. And then the ACT with writing is in 11th grade. So it's important to notice that the report cards for the different age levels are comprised of different assessments. And I'll talk very briefly about each of those as we go on. For anybody at home or board members, if you are interested, all of the state report cards are now out there. They are public documents. So if you go to, actually, if you jump on Google and just type in Wisconsin State Report Cards, this will be the first hit on there more than likely. Once you get to this page, or if you go into the DPI webpage, you can go to accountability. If you click on the green mark, it actually pops up just like this. And then you can dig into any school district in the state. You can look at big schools, small schools, everybody in the private or public sectors. So this is what it would look like for us. And then what we get to do with that behind the scenes is before they ever get released publicly, they come to myself and I sit down with our teams and we look, is there any errors? Are there anything that we're missing? And we kind of get a sneak peek before they go public. So I spent countless hours looking, well, do we have enough students that are actually accurately counted when they do our data polls in the spring and in the fall? Is all of that working out so that it's reflected appropriately once we get to a public release? So everything checked out for us. We had some questions, had some good dialogue with DPI, a lot of exchanges and email, but everything is accurate, so they are publicly released now. So what I'm going to quickly go through is our district's report card, which I'm going to kind of just give the nuts and bolts, and then I'll go through each building very quickly. And when we get to the last part, I always get asked, well, how do we compare locally? So I did some data compilations so we can see kind of how do we compare as I've done in the past. So some things about the report card. Be warned, I was given a laser. If you look at the top, every report card gives a breakdown in the demographics of our district. So you can see our enrollment, kind of the span of our district. We do have K4 listed. Some districts are just a K12. And you will actually get into some of the privates that are K9, things like that. And then over to the side, this would be like a kind of demographics, if you will, what percentage of students have disabilities, economically disadvantaged English language learners. So it gives a little bit of that backstory of what our district is about. So I always caution people, if you start comparing schools, be careful what you're comparing, because you can have 2 vastly different schools. They may have the same enrollment, but the populations of enrollment may be very vastly different. Or if you have a transient population, the state report card is only based on students that are with you for a full year. So they have to start with you and end with you. And if you have a school like one I taught in a larger district, you don't count a lot of students because they're not with you for a full year. So you may have a large enrollment, but you have a very small population that actually counts on the assessment. So you have to be very careful when you're comparing schools because they are not apples to apples always. Important point, everybody wants to look at the score. We'll get to that in a second. This priority area portion, when you talk about districts, they're broken into quartiles as long as your district is large enough. The bottom 2 portions are always set at 25% when we're talking about large districts. When we get into high schools, it's slightly different. Iron River is a completely different conversation because we have a much smaller cell. There's not as many students. So again, looking at comparisons, the top portion where you see achievement and growth, the way that Wisconsin works for the achievement and growth calculations is it actually is based off your free and reduced in your socioeconomically disadvantaged population. So if you have more students that are economically disadvantaged, you will have less weight put on achievement and more put on growth. So when you look at report cards, if you compared us to say Cumberland, you're going to see a difference in what those numbers are on top. And the Brain Trust down at BARC at UW-Madison, they figure out all the calculations and how all that works. But you can look at the differences between districts and see that there are calculation kind of metrics that change district to district. So as an overall, our total district did very well. We again exceed expectations. If you look at us locally, and I'll get to that at the end, we do very well, and we continue to do very well because of our teachers and our community. The bottom of the first page gives quite a bit of information, but what it really boils down to is it shows based off of what your priority areas are, it gives you those 4 areas. And what is a nice comparison is it'll tell you where you are. So here in growth, in this subject area being ELA, you can see where we compare to the state, which is the gray line underneath it. So as a comparison for achievement, our mathematical achievement is above the state right now on state average. Our ELA is above it as well. So it just gives you a nice kind of infographic that tells you how do we compare to everybody else on a larger scale. The kind of nuts and bolts of the report card, we always ask, well, are we growing? Are we improving? The second page of the report card gives you a graph that will tell you by English language year by year. So if we look back 2 years to the 2020-21 school year, which would have been our first year back from the COVID-19 pandemic, this shows us where we were. Those that have been with me before, we talk about points-based proficiency. On the state assessments, you get a rating of either below basic, basic, proficient, or advanced based on how you perform, and there's certain cut scores in there. When we talk about the report card, you get more points for students that are advanced. You get 1.5 points for those students. You get 1 point for kids that test at the proficient level, and then the basic, you get 0.5 point, and below basic, you get 0 points. So in the mathematical world of how this all comes to be, the more kids on achievement that you have high performing, you do well. But you also have to be able to move kids. So if that growth metric is very weighted in your report card, then it's important that you have a metric or you have a system that is targeting students and how they're growing. Because as you move kids from one category to the other, then you get more points for that. So again, going back to that circle that showed where that weighting is, you have to really know, well, if we're high achieving, we have to keep moving our kids, and we have to have a system. When we talk about RTI in the schools, how are we targeting kids to not only push the top to be high achievement, but we have to take kids that are in the middle and move them up as well, which is why we work really hard in our schools to look at how is everybody growing, because this is where it all comes to meet the road, if you will. The other exciting pieces where we talk about, well, how do we use this information? One of the things that we look at is those historical trends. So I got very techie on this, threw a couple of arrows in. If you look at that top line, it shows the students in our district that tested, 842 of them. It gives a breakdown year by year. So what's important for us to note is if we look at from the 2021-22 for all students, what percentage of our students were in those categories. So at the entire district for English language arts, you can see in 2021, we had 23.5% of our students that were below basic and gave us 0 points on our report card, but we have diminished that to 18.8%. So we've taken that bottom portion and decreased it, which moves those kids into a higher category. And we've also taken, on average, the same amount of kids and kept them at the top. We're about 6.9. And we've moved kids that were in the basic category over into the proficient. So that's showing us that once we come back from a pandemic, we continue the work that we're doing. Our kids are not only doing really well, as we'll see when we get to the comparisons, but they're also continuing to move kids from the bottom up. So our support network is working right now. So I always go back to, if we're going to have shiny numbers and graphs, all that fun stuff, we really need to know, well, what are we doing with it, and how does it reflect on what we're doing. So we try to be more of application based when Mark, Tanya, and I sit down to look at how our kids are doing, and Allison, bring her in every now. Mathematically, we do well as well. I'm going to quickly go through the report cards because if I don't make the middle school concert in 5 minutes, I'll be in trouble. So at the elementary level, you can see Northwestern Elementary School, we again exceed expectations. Move on to, at Iron River, we significantly exceed expectations. I talked briefly about this. Because they have a smaller population, Iron River had 38 students that took the assessment last year. They're not able to have the other category being the target group outcomes because it's a smaller sample size. They wouldn't be able to say, well, these students continue to underperform. We're going to monitor them without actually indicating who those kids are. So smaller school districts or smaller schools like Marengo Valley and Ashland, us, there's one at Hagen. Those schools don't have all 4 pieces of the metric, if you will. Iron River, again, I showed that. At the middle school, our middle school continues to excel, exceeding expectations. And our high school met expectations. And again, I want to preface, it's a different metrics because at the high school, again, we have a different combination of assessments. We have all 4 assessments at the high school level. As I had promised, I did put together some comparisons. So at the district level, you can see by each category kind of how we compared with other schools. If I can draw your attention over to the farthest right, you'll see that as a district of the schools that historically I've compared to, we are the highest achieving. So we continue to do really well. And that's, again, because our staff and students and our community, we keep focusing on growing and investing in our staff. So the proof is in the pudding, if you will. If we look at the elementaries, you can see Iron River is back on top. They excelled this year, and because of their growth score, they are the highest achieving, followed by Woodlawn Elementary and Barron. And then you can see kind of the breakdown in NES is right there at the top as well, in the 4th seed. Moving on to the middle school, Mrs. Craig's team does a fantastic job. Again, their achievement and growth combination has put them as one of the top schools. Oh, and there. Okay, and at the high school, again, you can see the comparison of how everybody is doing. Our on track to graduation is exceptionally high, and our growth and achievement continues to be high as well. All right, that was a lot of information. I appreciate it. Any questions? Please keep it quick. Like, see how the dog goes. Tanya knows what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna withhold all my questions. I just want to say thank you.
You're very welcome.
And you know what I probably appreciated hearing most is all good scores.
Yeah.
What I loved it when you guys said, yeah, we meet and we just talk about what we're gonna do with this data and how can we use this to benefit us and continue to strive to be better.
And we bring it down. I've sat with Tanya's teams from Akron ELA, my grade level teams. We sit down and we talk about it, what's working, what isn't working. So we try to make it as applicable to our staff as we can, so we can continue to grow and make it better for our kids. Because ultimately, they're the ones taking the test. I'm just putting the numbers together. So I do have to run, but if anybody has questions, shoot me an email or swing by the elementary school, and be more than happy to walk through it. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. That was very good, Larry.
Thank you all very much.
And I thank the staff, the administration, students, parents, grandparents. It's all good. It's great to hear that. Administrative item 7 is administrative report. Communications, Mr. Warren.
Yep, I received correspondence from the Wisconsin Interscholastic Speech and Dramatic Arts Association on awards earned by Northwestern High School's one-act play, Something Rotten in the State of Denmark, recognized on the agenda item. Number 7 has an invitation to the family and consumer. Okay, no, that's recognized on number 7. So.
Number you mentioned it in speech and learning.
Yeah, so we got Adam did a very nice job with his crew on that, so we wanted to recognize his group for that. So congratulations. I saw the one act play your kids with that.
It was great. It was great to see them.
Thank you. We also had an invitation to the Family and Consumer Education team on December 20th. And we have received notification from CISA 12 that the district has been selected to receive a civic scope and sequence grant of $5,000 applied for by Mr. Greg Nelson, 6th grade teacher, and Connie Craig of the Northwestern Middle School. So that was that.
That's great.
Letter B, Creo Kindergarten, surveys were included in your board packet. They will be on the webpage to gather information from the public on the feasibility of having fee-based 3-year program. So we're getting ready to send that out, but we put that in your packets if you have any questions on that. Also, number C, the 103rd State Education Convention is January 16th through the 19th of 2024. Mr. Landwehr will attend along with myself and Mr. Petticock. We also had the posting for the verification of candidates and drawing of the ballot order on January 3rd, 2024, which is included in your board packets. And then a district maintenance update is enclosed in the board packets. Any questions can be directed toward Mr. Petticock.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, back up a sec. What is that grant gonna go, like, what is that?
Yeah, so, and interestingly, we were the only school that actually showed interest and reached out. So we're pretty excited about that Northwestern Middle School, Greg Nelson recognized it right away as a social studies teacher. And it's gonna really take a look at the scope and sequence of the civics work that needs to be done in the state of Wisconsin and in our region. And he's gonna be leading that charge. So super excited, and it's bringing in $5,000 for our school district and our students. So excited for that. And thankful that he took the time to do that.
Any other questions?
And I can give you more details too. I'm just also hustling because of the concert. Sorry. Call me tomorrow.
Donations?
Donations, yep. So we had quite a few donations this month. Kids in Nevagamon have donated $500 to the Iron River Elementary School supply closet. Thank you to them. Classics by the Lake LLC donated $550 to the Northwestern High School Band toward the purchase of a digital audio mixer for use by the Vocal Jazz and Sports Band. The Gitchagumi Theater and Rec Association donated $550 to the high school band, and the Ulu Community Theater also donated $550 to the high school band for the purchase of microphones and microphone cables. There was also an anonymous donation of a baritone saxophone valued at $3,000. So thank you to all those people that donated those. The Michigan Covenant Church donated snack items for the supply closet for the student use at all 3 levels: coats, snow pants, boots for the borrowing closet at NES, socks, underwear, shirts, and pants for the nurse's office. Mary Rainier donated homemade blankets, pillow covers, and ice pack covers for the student use in the nurse's office at NES. And Beth and John Michael Fritsch, owners of Culver, donated to every school district employee a 10% off of meal purchase through December 31st, 2023. Beth Fritsch also provided the transportation department with 125 the best on the bus awards to be given out to our star riders. The certificate is good at both the Ashland and Superior Culvers for a free scoop of custard. So we want to thank those people for all their donations to our staff in our district.
Oh, that's a good item. On the WASB and legislative correspondence, Mrs. Olson.
Yes. Senate Bill 688, requiring school boards to use competitive bidding in award contracts to the lowest bidder, was introduced in the Senate. This bill would require that school boards solicit bids and award a public work contract to the lowest bidder if the estimated cost of this contract exceeds $150,000 and the contract is for the construction, repair, remodeling, or improvement of a public school building or for the furnishing of supplies and materials. The bill was circulated for co-sponsorship back in late October, and since then, several GOP legislators have signed on. After being formally introduced, the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Transportation and Local Government, chaired by Senator Corey Konzik, who signed on to the bill. This bill has been proposed in previous sessions, and the WASB and other public education groups have opposed the measure on local control grounds. On November 28th, the Senate Committee on Mental Health, Substance Abuse Prevention, and Children and Families held a public hearing on Senate Bill 597, a bill that requires school boards to develop and implement a policy for notifying parents and guardians of children under 16 of each material checked out by their child at school libraries. It also would require boards to issue an annual notification to parents and guardians if it will allow students in the district to access materials through BadgerLink, an electronic collection of library resources. And Governor Evers signed Assembly Bill 109 into law Wednesday as 2023 Wisconsin Act 60, which requires students to complete a half credit of personal finance literacy in order to graduate high school. This requirement begins with the 2028 graduating class.
Our bills that affect us. Thank you. CISA 12, report, Mr. Black.
Okay, last month's meeting, some of the highlights were CISA 12 completed their sportsmanship summit at Spear High School. 17 districts participated in that event. CISA 12 is running a cybersecurity program. Jamie Glass is participating in state and national groups around this topic. He serves on the statewide incident response team. Jamie is currently meeting with districts to talk about cybersecurity and initial steps the district can protect themselves. This week's PAC meeting will focus on AI. Some of the new statement from EMLSS project. This is a new CISA 12 grant project replacing the work that is previously done by WRTL Center. It addresses the district systems around academics and behavior. Each CISA has 1 to 2 coaches that are working on in the region. Amanda Trott and Diamond Gullick are the EMLSS coaches for CISA 12. CISA 12 is hosting an EMLSS framework training on January 12th. Joining CISA 11, they're doing it together, and it's down at Heartwood in Trigo. Currently 10 CISA 12 districts have signed up. After that training, Amanda and Diamond will provide free coaching to the districts based on their goals they set in training. Let's see, and then we went over some policy changes, some of the employee policies there, and yeah, Nick will be down at a lot of the CISA 12 members will be at the convention.
I'm at a busy meeting. Any questions on those? We have reports from Northwestern High School, Northwestern Middle School, Northwestern Elementary, and Egg River Elementary School, athletic director, activities director, and the director of special ed. And is there any, we appreciate those very much. It shows how busy you are. And then we have the student representatives. Any questions on those? Okay, student representative is Rita.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll start off, I'll talk about some of the sports that are started up. The boys basketball team started the season off strong, 3 wins, 0 losses. Defeated Hayward, Ladysmith, and last Friday, St. Clair Falls. Keep an eye out for next Thursday's game against USA Lake, along with Thursday at Spooner.
Now Tuesday, right?
Tomorrow's the game against Rice Lake and Thursday. And then our next home game will be next Tuesday. So, girls basketball started off with a 1-win, 1-loss conference record. They lost to Hayward, but they defeated Lady Smith at their home gym. So watch out for tomorrow's home game at 7 p.m. against the Swimmer Rails. Be sure to attend that. The wrestling team, they back in November 30th, I think, they traveled down to West Salem for their varsity tournament. They placed third as a team there, so very good. More recently, the wrestling team competed here against Hayward Superior. They lost to Hayward, but they managed to beat Superior, placing second in that. And then last weekend, the team traveled down to Wisconsin Dells wrestling tournament and placed ninth, I think, out of 30 plus teams. It might have 52. But, so yeah, good stuff happening there. And then men's swimming, they competed last Wednesday with Northwestern's Trevor Peterson placing first in his individual event, and Noah Craig placing first in both of his relay events. So very successful. And then didn't you say they had a meet after that?
They had a meet in Rice Lake on Thursday, and then they swam against the Hodags and Bayport in Rhinelander. It was amazing. So,
Yeah.
and they dominated again, so they're off to a really, really strong start. Thank you. Thanks for reporting on.
No problem. So yeah, Northwestern Junior Sports, we have a lot of young people on our team. We lost a lot of seniors, but promising start to the season. I'm looking forward to the underclassmen filling the roles of the predecessors.
I'm gonna talk about some of the activities that are going on in high school right now. DECA is getting up and running. Last Thursday and Friday, they attended the sports marketing conference in Green Bay. And I was able to talk to some of the students that went, and they had a really good time, and they really enjoyed it. Before break, like Lily talked about, FFA took 8 students to the Leadership and Impact Conference in Green Bay as well. I know we already mentioned it, but the drama team performed extremely well at the state competition in Green Bay before Thanksgiving break. Art Club is beginning to prepare for their spring art competition. Each participant does a long-term art project, so they could do an art project over quite a few months and then have a judge of the competition. The school newspaper, the Octagon, has had several student-written articles featured in the Superior Telegram. The most recent one was written by Carly Nichols and was featured, should be in the last article or coming up. The last article that was published. FBLA participants have begun to work on their projects for the competition season starting in the spring. And FCA has been hosting weekly meetings every Friday morning and are planning to continue that throughout the year.
Okay, that's awesome. Oh, you're busy. I'm tired. We're gonna take a nap and go home. Okay, student, staff, and community recognition.
So we're gonna go back to as I said before, we got a little letter from on Adam Hallbach's one act play. Well, the cast of the one act play, and Adam Hallbach directed, and Pat Starry, assistant director of Something Rotten in Denmark, received the Critics' Choice Award for the production representing an elite level of achievement at the state festival. Additionally, the production earned an Ensemble Award, directing award, and a Technical Theater Award. Excuse me. Plus earning Outstanding Acting Awards. I have is it UKIC as Ghost, and Mateo Stop as Tom Hamill. I mean, like I said, I thought it was spectacular, and these kids are well deserving of these awards and the whole group. So outstanding job. Thank you.
And thank you for your support as well.
That's all good. Thank you, Mr. Hellbach. Okay, comments from the audience. More. Okay, now that we have concluded the business of the board, we'll end the live stream. But we will have comments from